What is giving you peace, Ruchi?
If you ask me at this moment,
Yeah.
just having this conversation with you.
You talk passionately about diversity, equity, and inclusion. So, how can organizations create an inclusive culture?
Are we creating that space where everyone is thriving?
One mantra that instantly lifts your heart.
I would really say what you focus on expands.
And do those 10 things keep changing day to day?
Yes, but there are a few things that I keep constant as well.
Where are you with contentment? Are you feeling more or less content with life the way it is right now?
Grateful for what I have and I'm accepting life's gifts, right?
If you could have a nice cup of black coffee with any spiritual teacher, past or present, who would it be?
Well, Louise Hay.
Are you a good receiver? Are you always a good receiver? Let me ask that.
Not always.
Yeah. Ruchi, what's the most unexpected place where you found peace? What is your best quality? If your soul had a theme song, what would it be?
What instantly comes to me is I'm every woman, it's all in me.
My next guest has a professional designation that is so huge that it is beyond me to even begin to comprehend it. But if there's anybody in today's professional world who embodies conscious leadership, it is her. It is my absolute honor and pleasure to welcome Ruchi Anand, Country Head, LinkedIn Talent Solutions. Ruchi, welcome. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Such a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you so much. And so what is giving you peace, Ruchi?
If you ask me at this moment,
yeah,
just having this conversation with you.
Yes. And we only have this moment.
Yes.
Right?
We live in the moment.
Yes.
Yes.
Having this conversation is good.
It's good.
It feels the same way for me.
Absolutely.
Do you have a formula for finding peace in the moment in your... I know how busy you are. I can understand the level at which you're operating. And do you have a go-to practice or something that just instantly you can touch upon to find peace?
Yes, I would say that a few deep breaths and grounding myself with gratitude. One thing my spiritual teacher taught me was, having lotus of gratitude. So like sometimes when I'm on my way to work, just opening these petals, 10 things that I'm grateful for, that just grounds me and, makes me feel at peace.
And do those 10 things keep changing day to day?
Yes, but there are a few things that I keep constant as well. Waking up, having a own home, being with my family, health of my family, my loved ones. So some of those things, I think one hand I would say
it's constant. The other one is a variable.
Yes.
Oh, that's so beautiful. That's such a simple, effective practice. Anybody can do that, right?
Yes.
So what did you call it?
It's like lotus, gratitude, lotus petals, opening these lotus petals.
The lotus of gratitude.
Lotus of gratitude, yes.
Yeah? Ruchi's lotus of gratitude. That's beautiful. Thank you. So, Ruchi, a lot of people think that, your professional space is just work, and numbers and things and all that. But you are basically dealing a lot with people, right? Yeah. Human beings. So, do you think there is any particular emotion that most people struggle with? Is there something that comes to mind that, okay, this is a common, I can see a thread here that, some emotions that people are really struggling with?
If I think about it, I think maybe one of the things that comes top of mind is being contentment.
Contentment. That's a beautiful one. It's a big one.
And I think the reason I say that is that, and I've realized it myself. I mean, I've also, sometimes that's why I need this grounding with gratitude at times.
Sure.
Because we tend to be in denial or we refuse life's gifts. Because we're so busy just finding faults in ourselves or in things around us. So I think if there's one thing maybe that comes down to...
Yeah, but this is you're touching upon something that's so primal, so primordial, this sense of that something is amiss, something is missing in my life, and one day it's all going to be complete, and we're all chasing that,
100%.
So contentment is a very high quality of a human being, right? And
true.
Where are you with contentment? Are you feeling more or less content with life the way it is right now?
Well, when I say I'm grateful for what I have, and I'm on the journey to make sure that I'm accepting life's gifts, right? At the same time, when I say contentment, that does not mean that there shouldn't be aspirations, there shouldn't be growth, there shouldn't be that we want to do better, be better every day. So it's not being content, it's being content with the materialistic things or things that, life happens to us as well, right? Fulfillment of the heart,
Yes.
right? Finding peace in chaos, right? In some sense, what grounds you. But yes, at the same time, for our personal growth, whatever personal growth means to each individual, it could be that just doing well in my current role, or it could just be learning new skills. It could be anything, or just.
Are you speaking for yourself right now when you're saying these things? Are these things that matter to you?
Yes, these also matter to me, right?
Yes,
so
yes.
It could be this, as well as it could be different things for different
Absolutely,
people, right?
that is the thing.
So being content on one side means that yes, so that we do not refuse the positivity around us, and we are willing to accept and receive. We should be open to receive, open to receiving, I would say. And the other side is also if you like it, you want to push yourself to get better and be a better human or a better professional, whatever you want to say. So contentment in that sense, but also at the same time chasing growth, which is self-growth.
This is beautiful soft balance.
Soft balance, yes.
Are you a good receiver? Are you always a good receiver? Let me ask that.
Not always.
Yeah. We talked a bit about this when we were chatting, and
yes,
takes maturity also to be able to understand when we are not good receivers. And
yes,
talk to us about this. Tell us of the journey with that.
So, when I said this, that we all have, in most cases, there's a denial to receive gifts, right, or see what we have. And I've been on that journey. Now, when I look back, I don't think I had the words to articulate or to understand what it really meant early on in my life. But now when I reflect and look at a pattern, let me actually share something. When I was barely 2 or 3 years old, and I always, like most children, loved spending time with grandparents. I loved spending time with my grandmom. And whenever I would visit her, I remember one particular day, it was a story spoken of in the house, even though I faintly remember it. Remember walking with her. She would take me everywhere. We went grocery shopping and would stop at an ice cream parlor, small one. And I remember this one particular day, it was like a little excited child who loves ice cream, like trying to peep up and look up at the counter. It's like, "Uncle, I want one small vanilla cup." Now, one particular day he said, "There's no vanilla, there is strawberry or there's chocolate." But I remember, I remember also this, that I would say that, "No, it's okay. If it's not there, I'll come tomorrow." And I held my nanny's hand and she was very surprised that as a child, why wouldn't you want a strawberry or a chocolate, right?
Refuse ice cream,
she came home and she would share this, and I've heard this story quite a lot. But that was like, okay, why wouldn't she? She only wanted her vanilla. But now when I look at patterns, it's about just looking at, no, this is simple, this is basic, this is, maybe the color ice creams are more expensive. Maybe this is not what, even now when I look at, maybe those are like patterns. And I think as I grew up as well, contentment in one side, being happy with what you have is one thing. But the flip side of that was also that as I grew in, I started working and all of that, some things being like, maybe I don't deserve this. Maybe I shouldn't be. So where you said, are you a receiver? Refusal to accept somewhere becomes, is conditioned even though you've not consciously.
It's funny you mentioned this, because I'm reflecting right now as you speak, and I realize I had my first complete full bar of chocolate at the ripe age of 26 or 27, a complete bar.
Yeah.
Without having to split it or share it, or whether I deserve the whole thing or is it wrong. So where is all this coming from? What kind of conditions we have,
That's so true.
Yeah.
And I think that's where when we start thinking about this, you'll find patterns like you just did, right? I've also felt that and I think that's the pattern of not being comfortable for asking for more, or, even in a professional setup that, asking for what.
Am I being over demanding?
Yes, am I being over demanded? Or I'll just need to put my head down and work and things will happen. And these are patterns that, now because we're aware and there's consciousness, work on not just, for myself, but, when we work within our, let's say, for example, in our employee resource group, in our ERGs, which is, one of them is Women at LinkedIn, we actually talk about some of these things that, you shouldn't.
So this is a dialogue that's happening.
Yeah, I mean, that, like, you shouldn't, like, there shouldn't be, like, a failure to claim your achievements, failure to, or just expect that, I'll put my head down and work and it should be noticed or I should be rewarded. If you do not advocate for yourself, how do you get sponsors? How do you get advocates? How do you build that confidence? And Satya, I'll be honest, I've really had my share of, and I continue to, I'm on the journey, overcoming self-limiting beliefs.
I was just going to come. You just took it out of my mouth. Yeah, these are the ones, right? Absolutely.
Yeah.
What was that about? What is? Can you articulate a one-liner, which is where it comes from? Is it one of the classic ones? Because I know I've met a few friends the last few days. The not good enough comes up a lot. Is that something you?
100%. Yes. Self-limiting beliefs around even things that I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I'll be as good as someone else. When you look around, oh my God, this person is so good at this. I don't think I can do this. I don't think sometimes, so, and actually if you think about it, there's so much that is all in our heads.
It's only in our heads.
It's only in our heads. You're right. It's only in our heads that. So, like I went through a program early on at LinkedIn, a leadership program, development program, and that's where I realized that helped me look at some of the patterns where self-limiting beliefs and the negative impact of it, right? Sometimes massive. Some of it you just
are so far out.
Like sometimes you feel that, oh, it's okay. That's how it is. You kind of tend to normalize some of these things because you feel that that's the way it is. And for me, like that phase of my career when I went through that program, I realized that programs like this, where they invest in, in like that leadership program, investing in women, and if that unlocked so much for me when I was on the journey of unlocking my own self-limiting beliefs, that's where my journey also started. That how can I even pay it forward? Because there is just so much potential, untapped potential that each one of us has, and we are the only ones that hold ourselves back.
Right. And it's lovely you mentioned paying it forward, because I think charity begins at home. Have you been able to pay it forward to your child? Because I see that as conscious parents, and I consider myself a conscious parent. I can see you're definitely a conscious parent. And our children are so much more liberated than we are when we were, and much more self-aware. And I think we are feeding them that. Are there any? How's motherhood been for you? Is basically where I'm trying to get at. How have you integrated all this in the way you brought up your child?
Yes, and let me tell you that whatever you do at work and all this thing, when you go home, everything is challenged.
For sure.
Like if you think
that's the testing lab.
That's the testing lab, right? Because do I have self-doubt that am I being a good mother? Yes, that keeps coming up. Do I have that guilt that has been used? I would say I've overcome it, but to some extent, or to a large extent, not to some extent, to a large extent I've overcome it. But yes, as in, at least I do feel that today, both my husband and I have very open conversations we have a good relationship with our son. My son is 16 now.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay, so you're really at the threshold.
Yes, at the threshold, that's something shifting. But I must kind of narrate a point in time, especially when it was COVID and he was in his preteen phase. I found that the most difficult phase. Why? Because I would see him go into these phases of a lot of self-critique. And that used to really hurt me. He would really sometimes go into that phase. Negative. Because I think it was multiple things. He was at a life, Like, I mean, he was changing. He was a
crossroad of,
crossroad. He was growing. He was also homebound. His sports, everything had stopped. Multiple things that kind of played there. And I must tell you this. I went to a friend who's a coach, a life coach, and I went to her. I said, Dhira, can you? You've known me and you've known Shlok. I think I'd love for him to do some sessions with you. And she heard me, that tell me a little more about what's going on. And I'm like, I just want him to feel happy, feel in control, not be so irritable. Some guidance,
and
guidance. Maybe I think I'm being the nagging parent.
Yes, of course.
And when I spoke to her, she said, you know what? You need to come to me, not him.
Classic. Now that's a good therapist right there.
Yes, yes.
Okay, super.
Yes.
Did you?
Of course I did.
Okay.
Of course I did.
Tell me about that.
Oh, well, that was really, I would say, a very grounding plus a very humbling, yes, that's the word, humbling experience. A lot around self-awareness. I always felt that I was very self-aware, but until I actually went into those sessions, plus especially what she did, Dhira, she has this, she had a book reading club, and she asked me to join, and the best book ever, I would say, that I went into was You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. And the masterpiece, it's a classic. It is really about going deeper into self-love and self-approval. And I think that, to me, I realized that there's so much that I myself need to work on, because otherwise I'm just reflecting the same thing on my son.
That's it. That's generational trauma. We talked a bit about 100%. This earlier, and this is how we pass it on.
100%.
And that awareness, the gift that you gave him with that walking up to the therapist and wanting to give him a session and then ending, that itself is the most humbling thing. And that's where you broke the pattern.
Yes.
That was it. That I presume is the turning point.
Yes.
So
yes.
Beautiful. Yeah. Yes. And have you felt the need to take any more therapy afterwards, or do you have somebody like you can go to for reflection, for mirroring?
Yes. So, like with her, in fact, I did this twice. The same book.
Same thing.
But I've realized that when I went through the same book also twice, there was a lot more that I uncovered, patterns. Like even when you spoke about mirroring, or like this whole process of self-approval, and that's why I'm linking it back to what I spoke about earlier, self-limiting beliefs. The simple technique of just looking to the mirror and saying that, Ruchi, I love you, was so difficult. I would have tears. I would just keep crying. I just couldn't say that to myself.
Wow.
And I wouldn't say that. I'm grateful. I've had a privileged, I have a good family, good upbringing, a very loving partner of my husband, my family right now as well. But this was deeply seeded, inside that you are so conditioned to just, beat yourself down for every little thing sometimes.
This goes back to that whole thing about not being able to receive, not even be able to receive that little bit of love from one's own self.
Own self.
And how can we receive from others, right?
Very true. Very true.
We always say that, you can only give what you have.
Yeah,
right?
That's true.
Yeah, and we can give love when we have love, and we can give time when we have time. Same goes for receiving also. If I can't receive a little bit of love from myself, how will I receive this big, ginormous, universal love that is waiting out there for me, right?
True.
So you unlocked something there.
I did.
Can you look into the mirror and say, Ruchi, I love you?
Yes, I can.
So, Ruchi, we love you too.
Thank you.
Oh, this is so good.
I love being here.
Okay, you mentioned some point a while ago that you're not a particularly light traveler. You travel pretty heavy. Where is that coming from? Because this, I know there is some story there. What is that?
Yes. So again, like I said, so recently, not very long ago, we did this, at work within our leadership team. We had an opportunity to do the Enneagram test.
Yeah.
And so I found out that I'm a number 2, which is a considerate helper. And the subtype was self-preservation, which really meant that, I have a tendency, or people like me of this subtype have a tendency to, keep a lot of things, hoard, right?
Collect.
And I was like, when I went through that, I was like, yes, where is this coming from? I always have I feel a little, I'm frantic if I'm just traveling light with a few things. What if I need this? What if I need that? I'll have a big bag. I'll have a lot of things, even though it's a joke always that, but actually I realized, I looked at some patterns. Goes back to the generational trauma we carry. And our family, my father was born in Rawalpindi, undivided Pakistan, and went through partition. Our families went through that, right? And I think when it's like about starting afresh, and also having to like always look at what if we need this, because
Yeah, what
we
if
have
we
to
need
do
this?
this, what if we need
Absolutely.
that.
Let's
and
keep this.
and I saw that pattern. He also tends to hoard things, and much to the dismay of everyone else in the family.
I
And
come from Bengali families where every mother dairy plastic bag used to be kept. What if we need a
What if
little
we-
plastic bag? It's insane.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, even though we didn't go through this growing up, we had like I would say, we had a good upbringing. We never had this issue of we don't know if we'll, like we were not like hand to mouth or all of that. Like we were not in that
It's
situation.
abundant in a
It was
normal,
abundant. Like for
life,
what
yeah.
I mean,
But
it was
it goes
simple.
much deeper than that.
But it goes deeper than that.
Much
Like it was
more.
like, where does this come from? So I think that's where that generational
It's
trauma and
interesting
this.
because we've spoken about hoarding and we've earlier spoken about contentment,
Yes.
And in the yogas, when you study yamas, niyamas, and in the Yoga Sutras, and one of the values like we're talking about there is non-hoarding, aparigraha, yeah. And that's the fifth yama. And then it starts with the niyamas where we talk about socha, which is cleanliness, hygiene, simplifying. And the next one is santosha. And somehow
Yes.
the non-hoarding seems to be a gateway to contentment. It's a represent. So you and I are going to start traveling a little lighter.
Yes.
I'm doing that. I'm really trying. I've tried to kind of cut down on the number because I realized that I can manage with a few things. I can wash those clothes when I get there. No problem. Things can be lighter. So more of that for us. Yeah, a little less weight.
No, 100%. I would, Satya, what I would say is that this is all a part of the journey of building greater self-awareness.
Right.
Like what I have realized is the more I am able to uncover few things and the reasons why I've had certain patterns, I'm able to then make changes.
Right.
If I know where and why it's coming from, otherwise, we're like, no, this is how I am. This is how it is. You just accept it. But when you actually are, only when you know, like when you know better, you do better, right?
Correct.
Only when you know, you know how to address it. So that's how I see this, and I still feel it's a constant lifelong journey of getting to know oneself better.
Yeah. Self-awareness, and this is something that keeps coming up in our conversations. You're passionate about talking about self-awareness. Do you have a regular meditation practice, or do you sit down in silence when self-reflection or just non-judgmental awareness? Do you have something going there? Do you regularly meditate or?
So yes, but let me put it this way. I have phases in my life that I'm very regular with my meditation practice, with my journaling, with gratitude. And there are phases that I just don't do it. I fall off. But life just brings me back to, and there's a need to do it. So either it is meditation, either I follow guided meditation practice, even if it's for 5 or 10 minutes, or it is, like I said, journaling, or if it's not journaling, even just kind of, sitting in silence and just reminding myself what I'm grateful for. But the other thing that was a constant for me is, that's my personal practice, which is, I'm a big Sai Baba devotee, Shirdi Sai Baba. So I read the Satcharita almost every day.
Okay.
So even if it's a
grounding practice.
Yes. So even if it's one page or one chapter, whatever, if I can. But there are times that I fall off that as well. Sure. There are a few days or weeks. And then I will just go on to the other side and do a full saptah reading in a week and finish it. So
really getting back on the bus now.
Getting back, so I feel that that's just the way to, you need that grounding. But also one thing I've learned is not to be hard on yourself. Because that's like, oh, I have to. So I think one of the things with the whole practice with Louise Hay is also, the shoulds and woulds. I should be doing, or I must be doing it,
Those are
or
party poopers, I tell you.
really. So when the mind kind of plays that, that
Yeah.
I
Because
should be
what it does is,
meditating, I
the
should be
shoulds and the
reading.
woulds, and I could. These are the things that basically take you away from this moment.
Yeah.
I should have will take you regret into the past. I
Correct.
could do this is in the future,
Yes.
and none of them are here.
Very true.
So that's a very interesting, because when you said that, it's so easy to fall off, even when you're a seasoned meditator.
I'm not seasoned.
I know.
But I would say,
I like
Yes.
to imagine
You
myself
are,
as
I'm
one, but
sure.
of course we all fall off
Yes,
that
yes.
that train, and long stretches happen. It's like
Yes.
losing your practice at the gym, for example, right?
True.
An interesting not an anecdote, story. That I met this guy actually at a flight, and we were just getting our luggage down. There's an elderly gentleman from the US, and we made eye contact, and there was a nice little connect, So he says, "So what brings you?" And I was here to launch this book. And then I was asking him, "So where are you going?" He said, "I'm going to the south of India to an ashram." And I said, "Which ashram?" He said, "To Ramana Maharishi's ashram." I said, "No, you're going to Tiruvannamalai." "Oh, you know Ramana Maharishi." So it was beautiful connect. As we kept walking together, and then he started telling me about, brother, many, many years ago, when I was so full of fire, and my spiritual fire was so strong, and I made a big announcement to a friend. From today, I will meditate 1 hour every day. I said, "Ooh, that's a big one, buddy. How did that go?" Of course, it didn't go very well, because I was going nuts. I was not being able to sit.
Yeah.
So I was going crazy with my thoughts. I said, okay, then subsequently, so we were walking to the luggage belt and everything. So, and the next day I announced, from today, I will do half an hour every day. I said, that didn't go too well either, right? So this overcommitment, and I should, and I must, and everything, And then he went on, then 20 minutes. I said, yeah, I get the drift. Let's arrive at the number where you arrived. 10 seconds. 10 seconds I could do effortlessly, without guilt, without pressure, without anything. And we could do that right now, right? I could look at you,
that's so
look at
true.
me, and we can be.
So true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So I think so wherever we are, I think it's so easy to come back to the practice, to the sadhana, to that little grounding, whatever little ritual that we have. It takes nothing actually, just that
Very true.
awareness, right? And that is the key. I think eventually that is the key. One of my teachers told me, it's not just about the awareness, it is the awareness of awareness.
Awareness of
You're aware that you're aware, that you are only awareness itself. That is your nature, right?
So true.
So I'm so happy that you bring so much focus of that. And that I can imagine how much of that percolates into your work and your company. That's incredible. Great. Oh, yes, that brings you to... So you have achieved such a high level of professional success. And so is there a perfectionist sitting in there?
Well,
Perfectionist can be a good word at times. That can be a little whatever. But is there that thing?
So, there is this, Satya, there's one of the books I always refer to, How Women Rise, by Marshall Goldsmith and Sally. They talk about 12 habits that hold women back. And one of those 12 habits is the perfection trap.
Perfection trap.
Yes.
There you go.
So, which is that you just want everything so perfect as you keep beating yourself down. And again, coming to awareness, once I read that, and I was like, no, I don't want to be in this trap.
No.
But I do find myself at times in that trap, because it's like this, that you see again, and like it's a balance, like we were talking about earlier. On one part of me, I really want to continue to be doing good work to the best of my abilities. And yes, I do feel disappointed with myself if I'm not able to come up with the results that, not just others expect of me, but I expect
What
of
you
myself.
expect of yourself, of course.
So there is this element, and in a way, I feel that we need to have that healthy balance, because I feel if I don't have that as well, then, that's what drives me. How drives me to try and get better each day.
Yeah, to polish the diamonds.
Yes,
basically.
I want to be better. I want to get better. I want to be, unless I invest in learning more or doing better myself, I cannot be in the role that I am, or I cannot lead, or
and lead from that conscious space that you
Yes. So on one side, yes, but I do feel that at times I keep reminding myself that I do want to be in the trap. So much so that, you're not like, again, another thing that I read about was, um, we all talk about, there's no work-life balance. There's integration, or there's this pendulum. So, there will be one side of the pendulum sometimes where you need to focus a lot on family. Sometimes you'll focus a lot on work, but you
Yes.
need to just make sure that you're not going so far away
Yeah.
in that pendulum that it's difficult for you to come back. So,
It's a beautiful
anyways,
image, actually. It's
yes.
lovely, yeah. So not fighting the polarities.
So it's
or
like the
anything.
counterbalance. That's
Yeah,
what it's called.
yeah.
So how do you kind of have that to make sure? So I don't want to be in that perfection trap either ways. But it's easier said than done. Like, I mean, what I'm trying to say is that, yes, I do want to do the best I can at home. I want to do the best I can to make sure
And
that
that's
everyone's,
it. I think that's it. And one is that awareness of that perfection trap itself is a release from the trap. That
Yes.
is, you've already set yourself free from the trap. The fact that you know that there is a trap.
Yes.
And two is to really, I think, what you just hit the nail on the head, to do the best I can. What more can I do?
Yes.
What more can I do?
Yeah.
The best I can. I have a simple philosophy with that also. How we do anything is how we do everything. I try to do the best I can with whatever I do. How I make my coffee, to how I chop my vegetables, and how I try to connect with people,
yes.
and everything. It shows. It's like the Japanese way. They wash their rice for 4 years for a reason, to understand, like,
that's true.
that you bring that quality into everything you do.
So
Then I think we can rise above the negative aspect of perfectionism, right?
Yeah.
We can do the best we can, with ourselves. You talk passionately about diversity, equity, and inclusion. So how can organizations create an inclusive culture?
Well, when you talk about inclusion, Satya, I would say that each one of us has to play a key role. And, this culture is not by title, but it's how we kind of, what we bring to the table in a way. Are we creating that space where everyone is able to thrive?
Yeah.
Right? Do I have a sense of belonging? Do I feel like being a part of this team, part of the organization, of course? But for me, like, one thing that we believe is that, even, we talk a lot about this, is even if the best of organizations could have the best of policies around equity, inclusion, but it all comes down to the immediate manager, or the first line manager. So how am I in my day to day, like every day when I get to work, how's my immediate manager and how's my team around me, and the role that they can play, managers can play in creating that environment. Is there a feeling of, am I being heard? Is there enough respect? Is there psychological safety in terms of, is it okay if I fail or I falter? If there is a safe space to have that conversation, to get, or am I constantly being judged? If there's a spotlight on me constantly, you can imagine how draining it is. And is there, again, that there also, I mean, I'll bring this up, Satya, about awareness, self-awareness for each one, that am I being someone who's talking over someone else, or am I just being upset because someone on my team is challenging me, right? How can that still be healthy? Like, if am I open to listening to diverse opinions? Am I creating that space? So yes, policies are important, structures are important, but at the end of the day, I mean, of course, organizations can create a lot of, let's say, programs, enablement, awareness sessions, so that people understand what it means, and what are microaggressions, what are spaces where, people feel that that there is a sense of that they don't feel belong, they don't feel connected.
They get a feeling of contraction more than this sense of expanded belonging, right?
So it comes down to the immediate manager and the team. And that's why, for example, within our organization, within LinkedIn as well, a few years ago when we were on this journey, we've made sure that every first line manager across the company has gone through an inclusive leadership program or a workshop and looked at real life scenarios in terms of what are the small instances that could make it not so comfortable for people, or not so, not create a happy space for people.
That is so good to hear.
Yeah.
That is there's a how long ago was this when this started approximately?
We started this, I think maybe it was 6-7 years ago, if I'm
Is
not
it a
wrong.
worldwide thing?
Yes, worldwide, globally.
Beautiful.
Within the organization, we have, like, when we talk about safe spaces, so it's your immediate team. We also have a lot of employee resource groups. We have about 11 of them. One is Women at LinkedIn. The other is like the newest, one of the newest ones is Wisdom, which is for 40 plus and allies. So,
What's that about?
so that's about, today we are in a phase where we are working in a multi-generational workforce.
Right.
So you have someone who's born in the late 60s or 70s, and also someone who's
Sure.
a Gen Z,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So and how do you make sure that, firstly, that it is an inclusive workplace, cohesive
yes,
workplace for every generation, because every generation has different ways of, what success looks like for them, what makes them feel comfortable. But anyways, coming back to this ERG, or the Employee Resource Group Wisdom, was we realized that when we talk about parents, where we have like a parents at LinkedIn, that's one ERG as well, or families at LinkedIn. There's a lot about, oh, I'm a new parent, about I'm just having a child, and what's that journey like? I'm getting into parenthood, or I'm a pet parent, or whatever it is. But what about, I'm going to be an empty nester soon, or I have also responsibility
Oh, wow.
of.
So you're really doing this.
Yeah, so I'm, and at our stage in our life, we are either empty nesters, are going to be empty nesters. We're also primary caregivers to our parents, right? And we're dealing with both ways. And there is a lot that what organizations need to look at is, it's not just an employee just who comes to work, but it's the individual, the human being that comes with so many things. Because
That's
imagine if I'm coming into work while I have a parent who's terminally ill, if I'm a caregiver for someone, plus I'm also dealing with a teenager or a teenager who's going to be leaving for college soon, and I have also very high responsibilities. What is my mental state of mind? So
This is so amazing.
Yeah.
What it boils down to what you just said. What I picked up from there, the core for me was, you are looking at the human being.
Yes.
And this is nothing but showing respect, actually.
Yes.
This is a fundamental respect for everyone's
100%.
individuality, and embracing them as they are and their circumstances, and not generalizing and making them a number, or But that is, it touches my heart to hear that if that is the culture that you guys have at the workplace, then you're definitely doing something right. Happy people. I live in Denmark, Ruchi, which is considered like the happiest
place.
One of the happiest places in the world. Also because the divorce rate is also very high there, 51%. So we were talking about that. Is that why it's so happy? And people like their sugar also. There's also happiness there, and candy. But overall, and I see that two things that you mentioned. I see that a lot of these values, when the sense of belonging, to be able to accept healthy criticism, and not, these things start very early there in the schooling system itself. It's difficult. It was difficult for me to understand it in the beginning, because I grew up in an Indian family.
Yes.
I'm an Indian dad at heart. My wife is Danish, but when I saw when I see now how the children work, they might not be too much of academic focus for a very long time, till the 7th grade almost. They're just playing. But the amount they learn, their human interaction, their social skills, their connection with nature, the ability to take healthy criticism, it's incredible. Now I see it. And when you're saying all this, that this needs to start way back then.
So true.
Yeah, but thank God you're doing it at least at this stage. Yeah, so creating this lovely culture. So full power to that. So, a lot of podcasts have the rapid fire round, and I feel very stressed when we talk about rapid fire.
I'm not stressed. If there is a hamper at the end of it,
I can guarantee you there is a hamper. There are 2 hampers for you.
No.
We are so grateful. Okay. So I'll give you 2 hampers if you do 20 questions.
Then. Oh my God, no.
We'll stick with 10. but we're not going to call it rapid round. So my friend came up with spiritual sprints.
Oh, I love that.
Yes. So, one. If your soul had a theme song, what would it be?
What instantly comes to me is I'm every woman. It's all in me.
Whitney Houston, Viva. That's a good one. Beautiful. Okay. One mantra that instantly lifts your heart.
Well, apart from my Om Sai Ram chanting, I would really say what you focus on expands.
What you focus on expands. And you can have multiple if you have
Yeah.
more of these wise ones.
So when
Come back to that. What you focus on expands.
what
Yes.
you focus on
Yeah.
expands. So and I think that applies for everything.
Everything.
If I focus on positivity, gratitude, that expands. If I focus on getting better on something, that if it's a task or something, that gets better. If I focus on anything negative, that expands, that fills my space, right? So I think that simply, again, I've learned it from my spiritual teacher, what you focus on expands. So where am I focusing on? Where is my energy going?
Energy flows where attention goes.
Exactly,
Absolutely.
that's what it
That's
is.
the one. Right. Great. If you could have a nice cup of black coffee with any spiritual teacher, past or present, who would it be?
Well, Louise Hay, because like I said earlier, I went through this whole "You Can Heal Your Life," her book, and I would say like a workshop. But there's so much that I've uncovered that just simply going through this process of self-love can heal so much within you.
Beautiful. And I should mention that I did a podcast with my dearest friend, Mandira Vedi. She had the same answer for this
Oh,
one.
wow.
Yeah.
So amazing.
You guys have to connect.
We should.
Great. Ruchi, what's the most unexpected place where you found peace?
Unexpected place. I was going to say expected, where I'm in one corner in the house, but unexpected, I would just say, yeah, but it's unexpected. Sometimes in the middle of chaos, when I'm just able to take few deep breaths and just ground myself with my chanting, I think I find peace. I'm finding my peace here right now with you.
Yeah, beautiful. It's and on the talking about deep breaths, there was this one of my old yoga teachers back in the days who could never say. He was in a class. He could never say breathe deeply. So he would always say deep breathly, everyone, deep breathly. And it's so difficult for me to say breathe deeply. And I always say deep breathly. So deep breathly.
Deep breathly. In essence, it's the same thing.
That's the same thing. We know what you're talking about. Okay. One thing that you do daily that feels like a spiritual practice.
Just bowing down in gratitude, I would say. Whether it's to the sun god, or it could be, to anyone. The highest in me bows to the highest in you.
Namaste.
Yeah, namaste.
Right. Beautiful. Oh, we have to talk afterwards.
Yes.
Okay, this is going to be a tricky one. Ruchi, what is your best quality?
Oh my
It's
God.
not a trick question.
It's not a trick question? Phew.
Deep breathly.
Deep breathly. And I'll also start saying that. What's my best quality? I think just having abundant love for everyone.
Beautiful.
I tend to always assume positive intent first.
The best case scenario.
Best
not
case
the worst
scenario.
one.
Yes.
Love. And next question is, what is the one thing you do not like about yourself?
There could be a lot of things.
One thing there would be. You have a list for her?
Yes, maybe to begin with, procrastination. There are things that, even if you're talking about you shouldn't be beating yourself, but you do. Like, when you need, like, I have to do something and, I just don't feel like it, or I just don't do it, and I end up delaying things. That's something I don't like about
There's
myself.
a very interesting Sufi quote which says, "Today I slept till noon and nobody scolded me for it." Sometimes it's nice.
Yeah.
Positive procrastination.
Yes,
There's a little
positive.
self-love there, yeah?
It's true.
Yeah, great.
Love it.
If there was a movie made about you, about your life, what would it be called?
Now, funnily, what comes to my mind is De De Pyar De.
Love seems to be the central theme. Yeah. Of course,
Exactly.
why not? Yeah,
Why
yeah.
not? So it's
Why
De
not?
De De or, whatever.
Le le
Le-
pyar le, de de pyar de, whatever works.
I don't know, I'm just
As
thinking
much
about,
love,
like, as much
let
as,
the love flow.
yeah, let the love flow.
Great. What do you know today that you did not know 5 years ago?
I'll go back to the importance of self-love and self-approval. I would say self-approval more. Yeah.
So, self-approval. And, Ruchi, if you could be remembered for one thing, what would that be?
That everyone remembers me for how I made them feel. Like they say, right? It's not about what you said, but how do people feel? So if people felt good around me and loved, I would love to be remembered like that.
You love to be remembered for love. I will remember you like that. It is this conversation, which was actually quite spontaneous. We didn't have much time to plan this or nothing. We just met each other and we just jumped right in. And there has been so much love just in this space, in this last half an hour or so. It's fantastic, and I see the beginning of a beautiful friendship here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's you have such a beautiful, big, radiating heart. It shines through, And please receive that.
Yes, thank you.
Receive that. Yeah. Take it in, because it is true. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Ruchi, is there anything that we're missing out on? Is there something in your heart that that I haven't touched upon in any of the questions? Is there something you want to add?
I would just say that always remember to be kind to yourself and to those around you. Very important. Sometimes, at times when we are down and out, there are times where, I mean, we all make mistakes. We're not perfect, and we shouldn't be perfect as well. But I'm just saying that there are times where we beat ourselves down. Think of how would you speak to a friend who went through that? What are the words you would use for that friend? And it would indeed be with a lot of love and kindness. Can you do the same for yourself? So, and always be open to asking for help. There is so much help around. I mean, thanks to the work that you're doing, the full circle, what everyone's doing is all about that. It's about just seek and you shall receive.
Yes. This is something I always say to others when I introduce the full circle to them, what we are trying to do, as a project. And I just think about it in the moment. I say, none of us needs to do this, because we all have very contentful lives I'm talking about the core team, but we all want to do this. Because this awareness that you've talked about so much, awareness is ever expanding. There is no limit to how far we can reach, how high we can go, how many hearts we can touch. And so full power to all of us for holding this space.
Kudos to you and the entire team.
And you for bringing this kind of this level of awareness into the corporate culture. It's for me, this is a new thing. I'm not very connected to the corporate world, and of course I have friends and everything. But it's so refreshing to hear what you guys are doing. So much love and blessings to all of you.
Thank you.
And thank you so much. I know how busy you are, and for you to take this time out and come and quickly jump in this space, it's very, very precious, and we truly value and appreciate this.
Likewise, thanks to you, Satya. You've made it so, it was just such a free-flowing, comfortable conversation.
No, it's you.
And it's you.
No, it was you.
It's both of us
It's
together.
both of us. We're both receiving now.
Yes, both are receiving.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Ruchi Anand.
Thank you so much. Thanks. And this is the full circle. I realized this.
Hey, show that. And where is the full circle?
And see, this was meant to be. This is the full circle.
There you go. You're never far from it. Yeah, there are so many full circles around.
Yes.
This, yes. And a full circle.
And a
yeah.
full circle.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.